Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll discuss Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick's decision to run for John McCain's U.S. Senate seat. Also tonight, a look at professional development for teachers, and we'll see how science fiction can inspire education and technology. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Democratic Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick announced yesterday that she's running for John McCain's U.S. Senate seat. Joining us now to talk about next year's Senate race is ASU pollster and political scientist Bruce Merrill. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ted,
Thanks,
as always.
Thanks for being. Were you surprised by this announcement?
Not particularly. The Democrats are looking for somebody that's credible to run against the senator. They were putting some pressure on Kyrsten Sinema, and on Ann to possibly run. There's some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff going on, I think, between the two of them in terms of who is going to get out in front of this and maybe have a slight advantage. You know, my first reaction is it's good for Arizona. Particularly, Ann is a very bright, capable, experienced politician. And she and Gosar have worked together to do some things nonpartisan in northern Arizona. And so I think she's a credible candidate, and I think it'll be an interesting election.
Did she jump in first before Kyrsten Sinema had a chance?
I think so, but everybody's waiting on the decision from the court to talk about redistricting, and depending on how that comes out, although as you had pointed out to me that we don't know much about the timing, even if it comes out in favor of the legislature, which most people seem to think that it will. But it will certainly cause some of the existing Congress people to really look at their districts very carefully and say, is this a place I can be safe, or do I need to think about another race?
In her announcement, Ann Kirkpatrick, Representative Kirkpatrick, said the economy was going to be a key issue in this race. You think it will be?
It will be, but you know, you've got Doug Ducey and what he's doing with the state in terms of jobs and the economy. And whether it's right or wrong, when you run for the United States Senate, it's largely about foreign affairs. And that's the big advantage that John McCain is going to have. He's the chairman now of the Senate Foreign Relations, or the Armed Services Committee, which is one of the most powerful committees in Washington. We have a number of air bases and military establishments here where he can do a lot. I think that'll be his theme. It'll be more military and foreign affairs.
Where do you think she would show the best? Urban, rural, maybe existing CD1 areas?
Well, she has her district where she's fairly well known, and even though those races have been very contested, but her problem is going to be that she's got to become well known statewide now. And she only is known in about a tenth of the state very well. You might have noticed that it was announced, I think yesterday, that she's got like $250,000 in the bank for her campaign. McCain's got $3.5 million. And McCain can raise $20-30 million if he needs it. That's going to be one of the big challenges for her. Can she raise enough money to sit at the table and play cards with the senator? Will
it be a challenge for her that she supports and has been vocally supportive of the Affordable Care Act?
Oh, I think in certain parts of the state that's the case, although the polling I've done on that act in Arizona, it's mixed. The Republicans tend to be a little bit more against it, but a lot of the Democrats are very favorable. It's done a lot of good for them.
Could Ann Kirkpatrick face a Republican other than John McCain? In other words, does McCain have a primary problem?
Well, I think not really. I mean, the right wing of the Republican Party has disliked John McCain for years and years and years. They've tried to get rid of him a couple of times. And so that's a problem in a primary, but I just don't see that happening because in Arizona, you have so many older, retired military people that that's a big basis of support for the senator. So I would be surprised if he doesn't make it through the primary, and if he makes it through the primary, he'll certainly be the favorite against Ann.
And Democrats have not won a U.S. Senate seat in decades. Why?
Well, number one, there's been, even though more and more independents are happening in Arizona, now 47% of the electorate's independent. It's a growing number. But between Republicans and Democrats, the Republicans now have a 6 or 7 percentage point registration advantage, and Republicans frankly vote in higher percentages than Democrats do. So, you know, anything can happen. Mitt Romney found that one simple mistake when you live in a media society and social media environment can change an election. So I think we sometimes forget that we've got 18 months to go in this election, so anything can happen.
What about Congressional District 1 now? Likely Democratic, likely Republican? I mean, that's a wide open race now, isn't it?
It's a wide open race, and that race has been, in that district, it's been almost 50-50 in terms of voting, Republican and Democrat, so that will be an important wide open race.
And really all bets in that race, and where we go from here as far as all congressional, they're all off until the Supreme Court makes its decision.
They're all off, but you can see anytime there's an opening, it's very hard to defeat an incumbent. And you can see, I think there's 3 or 4 of these candidates that don't even live in that district that are talking about running,
right,
because it's so seldom that you have an open district that will have a lot of competition for it.
Before we go, I started by asking if you were surprised by Ann Kirkpatrick's announcement. Would you be surprised if Kyrsten Sinema also announced?
I think there will be a lot of pressure within the Democratic Party to prevent that. But you know, today in politics, and remember, Ted, this is Arizona. Anything can happen in the state of Joe Arpaio.
Well, that's true. All right, good to see you.
Good
Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, Ted.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Education looks at the importance of making time for teachers. The National Center on Time and Learning examines schools around the country that emphasize teacher professional development. Among the schools featured in the report, Brunson Lee Elementary in Phoenix. Producer Christina Estes takes us there.
Today I'm going to teach you a different strategy.
Every Wednesday after school lets out,
So, our first approach.
the teachers at Brunson Lee turn in to students.
140.
During their professional development sessions,
What does this term mean?
they learn strategies to
If you
become
see
better
students
teachers and
mathematically-
impact more students.
I know it's such a cliche, but those little light bulbs that you kind of see in their eyes when they're like, oh, I totally get it now. And then they go and like talk about how they get it. So I think that's one of my favorite things.
One of the most challenging aspects for Rachel DeFrasar is trying to figure out each child's individual needs. She has about 30 students in her 4th grade class.
Each class is different. Each year is a different group of students, and each year has different needs, and what you did last year might not work for these groups of kids. So having different people come up with you with these different ideas really does help.
And on your poster, I want you to create a metaphor.
The weekly workshops are led by an instructional coach who expects and gets 100% participation.
All right, so our metaphor is mathematical fluency is just like riding a bike.
While this gathering focuses on math fluency,
Student fluency in multiplying, dividing decimals is like Superman turning back time.
DeFrasar explains how another session led to her students writing more.
Writing in math could be, okay, you solve this problem, explain how you know you're right, because it helps them later on justify their own thinking, but it also helps them communicate, because writing's not just writing, it's a way to communicate, it's a way to process information.
Change is tough. Change is tough for teachers, especially if they've been doing it, if they've been teaching for quite some time.
Principal Ryan Lamonaco says they're facing a lot of challenges, including more rigorous Common Core standards and teacher evaluations.
I would be lying if we didn't get resistance every now and then, but it's all in how you approach it and all how you are as a leader. I honestly believe that if I don't have trusting and lasting relationships with my staff members, then they're not going to put those things right to work.
Lamonaco says the lessons learned here are sometimes put into practice the very next day, but it's the long-term payoff he especially likes.
When teachers can plan more thoughtfully and really thinking about engaging their students, the students are the ultimate beneficiary.
That's what I found out this year, that the more strategies they have in their toolbox, the better they can solve problems.
The greatest gift I can give my teachers is time.
At the start of the year, math fluency was a Rubik's Cube.
If I could give even
And
more, I would.
Now, math fluency is, since we've practiced and practiced and practiced, is like a fine-tuned instrument.
As a teacher, you're not just a teacher, you're a continual learner, you're a student, you're a lifelong learner.
In addition to professional development workshops, teachers at Brunson Lee get time to compare notes and brainstorm with colleagues who teach the same grade level. Here now to tell us more about teacher professional development is Sarah Ravel, curriculum coach at Brunson Lee Elementary School, and Alexis Wilson, assistant superintendent of the Balts School District. Good to see you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Give us kind of a precise definition of professional development for teachers.
Absolutely. So in any profession, as things change over time, you're always looking for, as a professional, to keep up with the best practices and finding the way to hone your craft. And so professional development is how we support teachers as a district and at school site levels to refine their craft in order to best support our students.
How do you differentiate professional development from career development?
Well, I think that takes place in a couple of different ways. In the Balts District, we're fortunate because of our extended learning calendar. We were able to offer early release days for students every Wednesday, and so those Wednesday afternoons, our teachers gather, as you saw in the piece, to work on different instructional strategies to perfect their craft, if you will. And so we start there, and then we also offer a once-a-month district-level professional development where teachers come together in their particular cohort group. So it might be a grade level, it might be a content area where they focus on instructional strategies there. For career, we offer for some of our instructional coaches or teachers that are willing and able and want to move into more leadership roles, the opportunity to participate in some professional development that might take place outside of the district and be facilitated by someone else to grow them in their careers.
As far as professional development is concerned, how has this changed over the years?
That's a great question. Historically, I think schools and districts have struggled providing high quality professional development for teachers. In fact, if you look at teacher exit surveys, people who are leaving the profession, you'll often see poor professional development as one of the reasons for leaving either their school or their profession. And so research tells us that high quality professional development is ongoing, it's job embedded, and it takes place within a group of teachers who are engaged in the same practices as you are.
You mentioned exit interviews and such. Is there something specific teachers are looking for that in the past they weren't getting and now you're trying to give them?
Definitely. I think differentiation. So in the past, we've seen a lot of PD, professional development, that's been one size fits all approach. And now we're really trying to target specific grade levels or teachers that work with specific groups of teachers, so our English language learners. And providing opportunities where they can come together as a group and talk about the specific challenges of their own.
And you mentioned making time is a big factor here. Technology is probably helping along those lines, or is it?
No, I think we have to continually integrate technology throughout the professional development so that the teachers become more savvy and more comfortable with using technology as a resource to instruct their students, as well as the students using technology. And we're fortunate that we have a lot of technology available for our students in the Balts District.
So how do we know professional development for teachers is helping education, is helping students? Do we have metrics out there? Can we gauge this, measure this?
Sure. Anyone doing professional development should be using data to gauge how it's going. So you're looking at student achievement results, and that can take place for ongoing instruction throughout the day. It can be an informal opportunity. You have benchmark assessments that we give at the end of every quarter. You've got pre and post assessment data. You have teacher evaluation data. So you're trying to align all of those things to meet the needs of your teachers and ultimately your students.
Invariably, though, with data, especially with school, you have variables. And so how do you factor in those variables to find out if it's really working?
I think you go back to look at what are students producing in the classroom. And when you're really looking at what are our students doing in math and writing and reading, and looking at a piece of student writing, you're able to find those pieces where you've been successful. And the key part of professional development where it really becomes successful is when it helps teachers identify what's successful that's in student learning and link that to the practice that they applied in the classroom. And helps them make that connection between the two.
And as far as school administrators, how involved are administrators in professional development?
Very involved. This year we've worked a lot to make sure that we were also providing professional development for our school principals. So we have an outside consultant group that comes in and does planning with them. A lot of our work over the last couple of years has been to prepare our leaders, our teachers, our students for the Arizona College and Career Ready standards. So a lot of training has taken place around that.
I was going to ask about standards and assessments and that's one of the variables, isn't it? I mean, I hear from teachers all the time, if they give me one more test, I'm going to scream. Yeah, but scream and yell. I mean, is it frustrating at times when you have to deal with those sorts of things?
I think the unknown is always frustrating, and it's difficult for teachers when they're not sure that they can trust the new system. We have a lot of teachers who believe strongly in the Common Core standards, and yet they are not sure that we're going to continue down that path with the standards. And so there's some hesitancy to really buy in and dig in deep with discovering what those standards mean and how to best teach those when we're not sure they're going to be around.
Not too much hesitation, though, is there? I mean, most teachers are for this, aren't they?
Many teachers are in our district. We've really embraced because we've seen how these standards have impacted our students.
Last question, as far as professional development is concerned, nothing's free. How much does it cost? Is the funding there, or as we hear so much with education, is the funding just sliding away?
Well, we're fortunate in some respects that we have some excellent internal instructional coaches like Sarah and many other coaches at our other sites that actually deliver a lot of that professional development. But we have to seek out grants and other ways to fund consultant groups that we might work with that can come in and either train the coaches or others so that they can deliver that. So it's a bit of a train the trainer model. Mm-hmm. Of course, we would like to be able to offer more as much as we can, but we do the best we can.
All right. Well, good luck. Congratulations on your success so far, and thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
From science fiction to science fact is an event held tonight at the Arizona Science Center. The focus involves how pop culture and the arts can be used to spark learning and help develop new technology. Here with more is best-selling author Richard Peck, who is among the featured speakers, and Brad Snyder, Executive Director of ASU's Dion Institute for Child Wellbeing and Bullying Prevention, which is helping put on tonight's event. Good to have you both here. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll start with you, because you've written stuff. You're a science fiction writer. You see what's out there. How much of an impact does writing in general, your writing in particular, have?
Well, it was fun for me to find out that my son was reading what I'd written, and it's even more fun to see that he's turning it into fact right now.
Talk about your son.
That's right, rather than me, because he's was for 2 years chief technologist at NASA, and what he was doing was working in science fiction, though for the people at NASA, There was nothing fictional about it. They were putting to work things that imagination had developed years earlier.
Your son Mason Peck, again, very big at NASA and very big at one time in NASA for sure. Did you know he was paying attention when you were writing this?
In a way, but not so much about that, about other things that we did together. In popular mechanics, for example, he was asked last year what he learned from his father. What I discovered he learned was how to make a bookcase. I didn't remember that at all, but I knew he was paying attention.
Yeah, the impact of pop culture, the impact of the arts on teaching science and seeing those teaching lessons turn into developments.
Right. Well, too often the arts and pop culture in general is kind of seen as the enemy of learning for some reason. But here we have an example of how science fiction inspired one of the nation's most important aerospace engineers. He's the one, Mason's the one that says, if it wasn't for science fiction, for the writing of his father, but the movies, the other books, he wouldn't have been able to innovate the way that he has. So the reason the Dion Initiative is promoting this event, sponsoring this event, is because we think there's a lesson to be learned from Richard and Mason, that maybe by introducing some of these pop culture references, books, movies, into the curriculum, we can inspire the next generation of great scientists. And
I think it's almost a common knowledge, it seems, that so many astronauts and so many folks at NASA were Star Trek fans when they were kids.
Right. Exactly, and yet you still find people making a distinction between hard sciences and soft sciences, or between, STEM education and STEAM education. In reality, we believe that they're integrated. When the Dion Initiative has been on Horizon before, we were talking about school safety as an element of a positive school environment. Mm-hmm. But a positive school environment also inspires students to get interested in learning.
When you're writing, do you, first of all, who are you writing for? Who do you see out there?
Probably, I don't know who it is. It's probably my granddaughter more than my son. I'm telling stories.
Yes.
And I tell stories that are interesting to me, and it's fun, and learning should be fun. Writing is fun. If your job isn't fun, you're in the wrong place.
Is there a concern with confusing possibility with fantasy?
Not a lot, no.
Not a lot?
Jules Verne said, what one man can imagine, another man can accomplish. If you can imagine it, somebody will be able to put it into fact.
So you can violate current physics if you feel like it, because you just never know.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing about writing fiction. It's all lies. You make it up. If I need somebody 9 feet tall in my story, I have no trouble finding him. I just make him up.
And again, the whole idea here is to raise awareness of science in everyday life and take it forward.
Well, I think if we're going to make the strides that we need to make as a valley to really improve our economy, but also improve our education system, we have to be a little disruptive. We have to be a little bit crazy. And maybe it's this type of thinking that inspires that.
And be willing to go out of the box a little bit?
Absolutely. What box?
Yes.
Tonight we have a segment that we're going to do during the talk where the audience is going to be asked to guess whether or not the thing came from the mind of science fiction author Richard Peck or from the lab of aerospace engineer Mason Peck. And I guarantee you, the audience is not going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah. When you're writing, can you get too technical? Can you get too deep in the weeds as far as science and physics?
I think other writers could. I can't. I don't have the good science background that I need. And so there's an element of fantasy in what I've done, too. But it's very interesting to me. Let me use one example out of my son's experience, and that is Curiosity, the Mars rover that landed not just a few months ago. It was after an 8-month journey. That's what everybody said on television. The fact is, it was after 40 years of people planning and thinking about it. And the journey itself was the end result of science fiction imagination going on for a long, long time.
And when you talk about kids and education, that's where you got to start, isn't it?
Well, you have to make it meaningful to them. You have to present them with challenges or problems to solve that are meaningful to them, or else they're not going to be inspired to try, to solve, to fail, and then get back up and try again.
And when you're writing, do you see problems perhaps out there that need solving now? And I think I'll go ahead and write about it in the future.
In fact, that's probably most of my writing. I've written a lot of dystopias. That is what's going to go. If it goes on like this, is the way the story starts. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix it? How do we solve population over control, lack of food, climate control? There are things that worry me, and one way to solve them is in fiction.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fascinating event. Good luck, and good to meet you both. Good to have you back, and good to meet you both.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Thursday on Arizona Horizon, hear from both sides on a new law that critics say will make it harder to fight crime around convenience stores. And it's time again for Southern Exposure, our monthly update of issues from around the Tucson area. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Helios Education Foundation is proud to underwrite Arizona Education, a 12-month series highlighting the issues affecting college and career readiness of our students. Through a decade of strategic partnerships, Helios is working to change lives and strengthen communities through education.